is such a good one. I'm telling you. This show is a good one. We're calling this one Better Listen Up because it is one of our... Oh, you want me to see your outfit? I see you. You look cute. I see you. Look cute. Listen, it's one of our favorite shows because we're talking to the voices behind some of the biggest podcasts around. Are you like me? I'm a podcast addict. Anybody give me a recommendation? I'm there in my car listening, getting advice. And we're introducing you to some of those that if you're not listening to, you should absolutely, whether it's improving relationships, mental health. These podcasters, they really want to help us thrive in 2025. Yes, I like that. But first, we are diving into one of the most popular podcast genres, true crime. Now, you know. So I have been in the true crime world for many, many years, hosted Deadline Crime for 6 seasons. So it has never lost on me the power of true crime podcasts, books, projects. But our first guest, she hosts what Spotify has called one of the best true crime podcasts around these days. Oprah Daily, in fact, called it important and poignant. Her name is Amara Cofer. And as a listener of true crime podcasts, she noticed that there was a real lack of stories about missing and murdered Black women. So she started Black Girl Gone to tell those stories. Take a look at this. These are just a handful of the over 200 victims Amara has given voice to on Black Girl Gone. That's someone's daughter, friend, someone's loved one, someone who won't be able to celebrate a birthday, an occasion with their families. I've been open that my own sister's case is an unsolved murder. And here's a clip from a story that she discovered about Jeffrey Lynn Smith, who went missing in 1985 at just 16 years old in Hot Springs, Arkansas. For almost 4 decades, her family has been searching and searching for answers. Take a look.
Like so many families of missing Black women, Lisa and her family found themselves alone in their fight. Jeffrey never got national media attention, and when she was initially reported missing, the police classified her as a runaway. But 39 years later, Jeffrey has never been found, and the mystery about what happened to her on December 4th, 1985 remains.
Please welcome to our Tam Fam, Amara Cofer. I mean, you truly are a hero to families. I've seen the outreach, I've seen the love and support. You were in healthcare, and in 2021, your life changed. You decided to start this podcast. Talk to me about that time in your life, because that's a big leap.
Yeah, so like many of us, I had gone through the pandemic. I have 3 children, and my life got turned upside down. I lost my job in healthcare. And so I had to kind of decide what I wanted to do with my time. I know I wasn't really ready to go back to work full time because I had the kids and they were homeschooling and it was just a lot of confusion. So I thought maybe this is a sign that I needed to take a little break, but I knew I didn't just want to do nothing. And so I, was like, well, what can I do to kind of, in my free time, to do something that will, be meaningful? My work in healthcare was so meaningful.
And for perspective, for people who don't remember that time, that's when truly a lot of podcasts started to be born. We were all at home available to listen, and these podcasts started to emerge around this time. You started, though, was there something personal? Had you been impacted by crime? What was it?
Not personally. I mean, I'm fortunate I don't have any, these tragic stories in my history. I was just an observer. I live in Philadelphia, which is a city that, it's plagued by violent crime all the time.
I lived in Philly for 4 years.
Yeah, so and so I have connections to people who have, connections to stories like these, but nothing personal. My journey came here as someone who consumed true crime like a lot of people. It's one of the most popular genres. I listen to true crime podcasts, documentaries. But what I saw was that women who look like me were not being represented in these stories. And so I said, okay, well, I could start a podcast, it could be true crime, but what can I do to contribute to this space? So I'm not just, speaking into an echo chamber and doing the same types of stories that everyone is doing.
I mean, I admire this because it's easy to say, a lot of people listen to true crime, let me get in on this. You were looking to be purposeful in this.
Yes, most definitely. I knew that this was a sensitive topic, and so I wanted to center the women, their families, in these stories and give them this platform. I had no idea that it was going to turn into
what it is. I mean, by the millions, people have listened and downloaded your podcast. Somewhere around 7 million or 10 million views.
Yeah.
Of your podcast. And, you know, it's interesting because last season we had our friend Erica Alexander on, who also is in this space of bringing attention. Your paths have crossed.
Yes.
She was working on finding Tamika.
Yes.
And do you feel that you helped with this awakening? Because there is one now.
Yeah, I would, I'm very humble as a person, but I do think that, prior to Black Girl Gone, there wasn't a lot of these shows in this space. And what I've noticed, we're almost coming up on our 4th year in March of next year.
Wow.
That more and more of these shows are happening, more and more of these conversations, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to normalize not the murder and missing Black women, but the conversation that we need to have around.
I love that. I love that. So you have featured a mix of solved and unsolved cases. One of the unsolved cases that really resonated with people was the Flora 4, 4 little girls who died in a fire. We have a clip of that.
In the early morning hours of November 21st, 2016, 11-year-old Kiana Davis, 9-year-old Kiara Phillips, 7-year-old Carrielle McDonald, and 5-year-old Kiani Welsh were killed in a fire that spread through their first-floor apartment. But as the investigation into the fire began, the shocking truth behind the cause of the fire is revealed. In January 2017, the investigators concluded that this was an arson, meaning someone had set the apartment on fire with several people inside, killing 4 children. But now that they had a cause, investigators needed to find the person who set this fire. It has now been almost 8 years since someone killed Kiana, Kiara, Carrielle, and Kiani, and the fact that no one has been held responsible haunts not only her family, but the community in Flora. Although Galen has left the area and the house is now gone, the questions and suspicion about these murders remains.
How do you decide which cases?
It's a mixture. I get a lot of both requests from family members and a lot of audience suggestions. So I kind of prioritize it. First, if a family member reaches out to me, that's always my first priority, is like, can I tell this story? Is there enough information? So those are number one. And then my audience, because we have such a big listener base, they are constantly sending, I get dozens of emails every week of just like, can you cover this story? This happened in my hometown, or this is my friend's cousin, constantly. And then, I still have to do my own research to try to find stories.
So do you have a team that works with?
Well, it's just me and my husband.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband Jason. He does. He does all of my all the technical stuff, like all the recording and editing and stuff like that. But I do all of the research, all of the writing, all of the editing, the YouTube videos, everything.
All on your own.
All on my own. Yeah.